So without any further ado, let's start. Okay. So our first inductee is going to be Coin Sports Bar as our sponsor category. So Mark, come on up. Mark is a 2018 Hall of Famer and has been associated with Kenosha softball forever. So Coin Sports Bar is here to receive the commemorative plaque is 2018 Hall of Famer Mark Gascoigne. For over 20 years, Coin Sports Bar has been a pillar of support for softball in the community. They're proud to have provided sponsorship funding for uniforms, tournament fees, and other necessities that allow talented athletes to play the sport they love at a high level. The bar has continued the culture and support for softball, the same as their mentor, Joe Santalone at Rumors Lounge began. Coin served as a home base for local softball. Hang on. Would you hold all those? I'll get it together. Their sponsorship of teams in the Rotary tournament has become legendary. About a dozen years ago, they sponsored so many teams and then requested not to pit them against each other. The task became a logistical nightmare once you got past the first round. But that level of support exemplifies to their commitment to softball in Kenosha. They wanted to provide as many opportunities as possible for athletes to compete and grow in their skills. Coin Sports Bar would like to congratulate all of the inductees today, and they are honored to have been a small part of the journeys of many of these players on and off the field. Please welcome to the 2023 Hall of Fame, Coin Sports Bar. Our next inductee is Hall of Famer, fast pitch player Dale Horton. Come on up, Dale. Congratulations. Dale grew up in the town of Bristol, and he spent most of his summer down at the local ballpark called Hanson Park, watching fast pitch games, and his father, Don, coached many of the teams over the years. So Dale got to hang out with his dad and the ball players and created a deep passion for the game. As an adult, he served on Bristol Parks and Recreation for 28 years. This allowed him to help promote the game fast pitch and help develop young players. Dale played for over 40 years with many teams across the state, but mainly with Earls clubs as a center fielder. He was won 2 world championship teams, 8 state championship teams, and was named to 4 all-world teams and 11 all-state teams. His career batting average of around 400%, and he hit over 350 home runs. Winning Bristol Progress Days tournament for 13 years in a row with Earls Club will always be a special accomplishment for Dale. Here to speak on behalf of Dale is his lifelong friend and teammate, Rich Edwards. Rich, would you kind of join us up here?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate this class of 2023. It's awesome. And yeah, it's really great to hear stories about everybody. And so when you hear like the little paragraphs that are being read, I love to hear that because a lot of people, or we don't know a lot of people. Being out in the county, I got my little notes here, so I'm old. I can't remember shit. So anyway, so actually most of the stuff I was going to say, he already said. But what I'm going to say is this guy is more deserving of this from out in our area than anybody I really know, right? And he has promoted the game. He has done so much with the game, and with the 28 years on the Bristol Recreation Board is unbelievable. So back early on, when we started going, we were Merck's Cheese. We weren't Earl's Club, we were Merck's Cheese, right? And then what happened is Donnie, his dad, coached us. And we were all pretty big hot shots, we thought. And so he taught us the game. It doesn't matter who got on base. When there's no outs, Donnie was moving the players over. We were going to bunt. We had a lot of conversation about that, and nobody liked the bunt. And I'm not going to say, but there was a few players on the team that bunted it foul just so they could hit. Not going to say. So, but I'm going to tell you a little character how Dale is. Sadly, Donnie passed away, and then we became Earl's Club shortly after that. Dale never skipped a beat. He picked up the team. We wouldn't have been a team for that long if it wasn't for Dale. And Dale kept us all together. But also, off the field, I'm choking up a little bit, off the field, he made a promise that he was going to take care of his mother. He's running 2 businesses, and he's playing ball, and he's on this committee. That tells you a lot about him. And I'm going to say something. There, you know, he's old school softball, baseball, and there's no magic bullet other than practicing. So, he was, for a long time, he batted right ahead of me. And there was a lot of times he had superior knowledge of the strike zone, except for the high pitches. And so he walked an awful lot. So finally, I got to the point where I'm like, in my very most calm way, my Dr. Phil voice, I said, Dale, you're too good of a hitter to do this. You got to start swinging the bat. I think it was more like, frickin' swing the bat, blank, 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 blank. I could see the fire in his eyes. He's country strong. I don't want to mess with him. So that's where his career really took off. And I tell you what, I had a front seat to the whole thing watching this. He had multiple All-States, multiple All-Worlds, and it was fun to watch. It really was. It really was. To this day, he didn't play for a long, long time, but now he has the privilege of playing with his son. So he dusted off the spikes. You know, there's a lot of Advil, but he's playing. Yes. And I went and watched him last week. He had a little fall, but it was good. But I tell you what, I'm very humbled and honored that Dale asked me to introduce him today. And again, there's nobody deserving, so congratulations.
I just want to say this quick. Rich is a lifelong friend. We played a lot of years together. He made our team all better hitters. He was at a different level, and we all kind of had to step it up to play at Rich's level. He had over 400 home runs himself, if not more. I think he was on the low end. He was inducted last year, if nobody knows that. So batting third and Richie batting fourth. I think I had 40 walks that year. I don't know how I walked 40 times with him behind me, because I mean, the best hitting I ever did is because they had to throw to me, or else they're going to face him. So that helped me with my career in batting and everything. So I appreciate Rich, and I appreciate all the other guys on our team that showed up here, all the friends and that. I want to thank John and Penny Wilkham from Earl's Club. They've done a fantastic job sponsoring Earl's Club over the years. Matter of fact, last weekend he even sponsored my son's team, and the bar's been gone for a few years. So John took the pride in saying, listen, if your son's going to play, I'll sponsor him as long as I want to have a team. So thanks to John and Penny for everything. I know this is going a little long. I want to thank my mom. I mean, a lot of people don't realize our mother's as younger. I mean, if we needed anything, our parents always were there for us. If we need anything driven out to the ballpark and we forgot it, she brought it. Anything washed, she brought it. So I really want to, thank my mom for everything. And my wife, Julie. Everybody that plays fast pitch and slow pitch knows that if you're married, you're putting a lot of strain on your wives. All the traveling and all the playing, and she put up with a lot, so I really appreciate everything she's done. But thank you to the committee for everything. I really appreciate it, and hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dale. And thanks to 22 Hall of Famer Rich Edwards. Okay, our next inductee is Carmen Veit. Congratulations, Carmen. Carmen Veit had an exceptional 14-year career spanning from 72 to 85, leaving an indelible mark on the sport and the community. Playing for 7 teams in the league, he began his softball career with Lenny's, and concluded on a memorable note with Fex Place. Carmen was an outfielder, a left-handed contact hitter. He was a speed demon on the diamond, and he regularly batted second in his lineup. Highlights of Carmen's career came in 1980 when he was an integral part of the Finney's Lounge team that captured the coveted city tournament championship. Carmen earned the honor of being named the tournament's most valuable player, and 3 other times throughout his career he was MVP of tournaments. He was fast around the bases, but was also known for the ability to throw back a few cold ones and celebrate after the game. Carmen's skill as a player, sportsmanship, and his unwavering passion for the game earned him a well-deserved place among the softball legends of Kenosha. Please welcome Carmen Blake. I failed to mention that this whole thing today, for the first time, is being filmed by the Kenosha History Center. So not only is your brick going to be here forever, but this induction's going to be forever. You guys are all part of Kenosha history. Our next player is Joy Day Mueller. Joy started playing softball at a young age with great success. Since Lincoln Junior High didn't have a girls softball team, she played for Tremper in the 9th grade and started playing City League softball for Interlude at the age of 14. 14. She played for many City League teams, Saturno's Restaurant, Poets, Midtown, CD Warehouse, to name a few. Sadly, she doesn't mention the precision team that she played on when I coached her. How soon they forget. Quite a few of those teams were not only she played on, but she also managed. The others were coached by Tom Gascoigne, there's that Gascoigne name again, and Tom Scarborough. She traveled with St. Matthews, CD Warehouse, and Hiawatha, and also played in Racine in the Women's Baseball League with Citgo and Hiawatha. Co-ed with M&M's Farm and AC Auto. She considers herself a utility infielder since she played every position in the infield at one time or another. But with her stellar fielding and her rocket of an arm, she excelled at shortstop. She feels very blessed to have played with and against some of the best players around. Joy won the Rotary with Poets Incorporated and CD Warehouse. She won a world-class C with Rumors in Sterling Heights, Michigan. MVP at Simmons Field for Barati's. Made all-tournament team in Rockford, Class B for Hiawatha one year. Many times city champs in Kenosha and Racine. All-tourney team at Shane Rawley's. And one year, she had the opportunity to play against Shane Rawley and Mike Schmidt from the Phillies. She also made the all-star team of the Women's Baseball League at Shane Rawley Sports Complex. Please welcome Joy Day Mueller. Congratulations, Joy. Our next inductee is from the contributor category for our club, and this is Greg Favor. So I'd like his wife and his son to please come up front. Greg passed away in October of 2018 with Lou Gehrig's disease. In August of 2018, just 2 months before he died, he was here at Lincoln Park with his family, helping any way he could to get the city softball tournament set up. Greg was a great athlete growing up and a very, very good softball player. And someday he's going to be considered for an induction in the hall as a softball player. But this year we're inducting him in as a contributor. In 1992, Kiwanis took over the city softball league from Keith Bosman, is that? I think. Not 100% sure of that one. But anyhow, Greg was the director of the tournament, basically by himself. In Rotary, we have 5-member tournament to do the job that Greg did for his city. And he did it for 20 years. You know, running a tournament of that magnitude requires an immense amount of dedication and work. And Greg did it extremely well for 20 years. Because of his passion for the community and the game, almost single-handedly, he coordinated the weekend, the venue, the sign-ups, the players, the umpires, the rules, equipment, concessions, everything from A to Z, Greg had a part in. So I'd just like to say, as a co-commissioner of the Rotary Softball Tournament, and the amount of work that it puts in for us to do that, and to realize that he did it almost by himself for 20 years, makes him one of my favorite inductees into the Hall of Fame. So please welcome Greg Favor into the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Gregory Favor, a lot of you called him Greg. Some called him Faves, or wait, Faves. And on the field, Wheels. I met Greg in June of 1984, and shortly after we started dating, I went with him to the bullpen, or Finney's, Rotary City Tournament, visiting the various parks. Greg loved it. It was everything to him. Family, friends, sports, community. And as a player, as we started our family, and he was progressing from his 20 years of softball, he joined the Kiwanis Breakfast Club. And he became involved in planning the city tournament. Our kids grew up helping in the concession stands, loading Pepsi, whatever we needed to do. It was a family thing. And so many of you are so familiar to us. You may think back and, oh yeah, I remember that little kid that was the little girl with the curly hair, or this little boy, you know, riding on the golf cart. Where's Connor? Oh, he's on the golf cart again with somebody. But he loved it. And it was a nice transition for him as he started to admit that maybe I shouldn't be playing as much anymore. So he dug into the city tournament. He wanted it to just be the best event ever. And he's like, I'm like, what are we researching today, Greg? Bats. We got the bats. We got to have these certain bats and ban these bats and this and that, make it all fair. He wanted it to be a fun, fair event. So we spent a lot of time stuffing envelopes, mailings, picking up signs, whatever. But each year, he just loved it more and more, and he wanted to make it better and better. As far as with our kids, again, sports were very, very important to him. He was very involved in their sports. Baseball, football, our daughter's running career, and just overall, he was so embraced with it. When he became diagnosed with ALS in June of 2018, we were in the midst of, you know, the tournament's coming up, and he said, I gotta do this. Thankfully, I know you said almost single-handedly, but the Jim Wave Rolls and the Breakfast Club, they were over to our house all the time, making sure Greg had everything he needed and made him still feel like he was involved, because that meant a lot to him. And to be honest with you, that was the best therapy for him. And his brother, my oldest son, Brandon, when the tournament was happening, they would bring him out on the golf cart into the outfield so he could still watch and participate. And he'd come home and say, if I go tomorrow, he said, this is my last memory. I said, I will die a happy man. He loved the community that much. He loved this sport that much. And I am thankful to all of you that put this much work in and spend the time, and it's just very meaningful, and that these memories are forever in our family and our hearts. So I want to thank you, and thank you for honoring him. He'd be very proud.
God bless Greg. Our next inductee is Bob Arnie Arneson. Today I have the pleasure of highlighting the incredible softball career of Bob Arnie Arneson. Arnie has made an immense impact on the softball community here in Kenosha. He first made a name for himself by winning numerous city tournament championships in the 12-inch division, playing for Margitson's Construction, Finney's Lounge, and then Terabasi's. He also captured a 14-inch city title with the Fifth Amendment. Arnie then took his talents to Illinois. Sounds a little bit like LeBron, but he took his talents to Illinois, where he competed at the highest levels with Coca-Cola Domino's. For many years, he participated in prestigious Class A and B world and qualifier tournaments all across the United States. Even with his success competing nationally, Arnie eventually made his way back home to Kenosha. Here he continued playing in top league softball Tuesdays and Thursday nights, as well as co-ed leagues. At the age of 54, after a storied career, Arnie retired from softball after competing alongside with teammates Vinnie Chambers and Hall of Famer Paul Cox on local senior teams. Arnie's lifelong dedication to softball, his many accomplishments have made him a Kenosha legend. From winning city titles to competing nationally to mentoring younger players, Arnie has left a deep impact on the game that we all love. His passion, skill, and sportsmanship over decades of play serve as an inspiration to athletes both old and young. Please join me in welcoming Arnie Arneson to the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame. Thank you, Ellen. Our next inductee is Tito Gonzalez. Congratulations. I told you it means a lot. Tito was born into a family of 12, and yes, they're all here. 7 boys and 5 girls in Racine, Wisconsin. Growing up, he realized most of his siblings were pretty athletic, and he grew up playing sports, baseball, basketball, football, volleyball, all of them. But he loved baseball, he loved softball. Softball was his sport. His older brother Joe got him on a team when he was 16 years old. He started playing in Waukegan and then moved to Kenosha in the 80s. He had several stints with different teams such as the Gonzalez brothers, Royal Equipment, Spanish Realty, Durangos, and he ended with KRM. He also had 5 years in the 55 and over senior traveling league. Also during that time, he umpired Little League games, men's and women's softball, and reffed basketball. There were some nights where he would play 7 nights a week and tournaments on weekends. In one state championship tourney, he received the Outstanding Defensive Player Award. He says, "It's been a lot of fun. I've loved the game. I always will." But I got help from one of his ex-teammates on a little bit more history. He said among the teams that Tito played for during his career were Sennies, KRM Hitmen, Gonzalez Brothers, Durangos, Lotus, and Hiawatha. Opponents often felt uneasy when Tito came up to bat. He was a clutch hitter, capable of both spraying the ball over the field or driving it over your head. On defense, he possessed a rocket of an arm and covered the outfield like the proverbial blanket. His teammates knew Tito wouldn't let them down on the field. But based on a memory shared by one of his teammates, the same could be said true of Tito off the field. Pat Hagwald remembers a Saturday night in Janesville during the Wisconsin Class D tournament. It was either 86 or 87. Anyhow, the Sennies team was staying in 3 adjoining rooms on the second floor of a Best Western hotel. As might be expected, the team may have been partying a little too hard at the bar, and when the bar closed, the teams brought the party back to the second floor rooms. Hegwald described the team as being quite inebriated. That was except for Tito. He was, of course, sober as a judge. But he was still having plenty of fun in his role as team mother hen. He was taking care of a bunch of 30-year-old teammates, acting like college freshmen on spring break. Tito dutifully stood out there in the middle of the 3 rooms on the rail, determined that no one would fall over the rail. He was very cool, he was having fun, but he was being responsible for the safety of his teammates. Hegwald said Sennies only had 10 guys. Tito said, I want to play with 10. I don't want one of you guys falling over the railing. And so his responsibility paid off. Sennies tied for 3rd in the State D tournament that year, and it was the team's best finish ever. Tito didn't let that team down, on or off the field. That's just what this Hall of Famer does. Please welcome Tito Gonzalez Ocasio.
Thank you. Let's just give a shout out to my family. And KRM, where are you? All the players, thank you very much. Thank you, committee, for this honor. That's it. I'm not talking. Thank you, honey. I love you.
Congrats, Tito. Our next inductee, umpire Robert Hale. Congratulations, Bob. Now, I may not have made this clear, but we have different categories. We have players, which just 5 or 6 years ago we started adding fast pitch, but men and women. We used to have a senior division of teams of guys that played before 1960, but we're not getting enough information on them recently. We also have a sponsor, umpire, and contributor. This year's umpire, Bob Hale. I'd like to read the nomination that his daughter sent forth. It is with great honor I nominate my dad, Robert Hale, for acceptance into the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame. All her life, she has known her dad to be involved in sports in one way or another. Remember going to watch him play softball when she was little and wanting to go to the park if he had a playground. At one point, he was playing 4 nights a week and managed 3 of the teams. While managing these teams in the mid-'70s, he wanted to know the rules. And after reading the rule book, it became apparent to him that the umpires either didn't know the rules or they weren't enforcing them. That was the starting point of his umpiring career. So he played in '73 for 14-inch, and by 75, he's playing 4 nights a week, 16-inch, 14-inch, 12-inch. By '77, he had joined the Southeast Wisconsin Umpires Association, holding office of secretary-treasurer for many years. And he started umpiring Little League, Pony League, fast pitch softball, which were all required before you could go to city solo pitch softball. He was umpire in both city tournaments and Rotary tournaments. By 1980, he was working with Hall of Famer Tom Anderson Sr., scheduling the umpires for the Rotary softball tournament. He worked with Ed Eno at the city recreation department to write a test to be given to city umpires so that the problem that he had discovered earlier wouldn't happen again. By the mid-'80s, he's working with Keith Bosman on the city tournament, scheduling the umpires. When things started to slow down, he started coaching Little League Baseball again, but he's always been called to umpire the city and the Rotary tournaments. I've known Bob for over 30 years for umpiring here. I have a great appreciation for Bob, and I'd like to personally say congratulations on your induction.
I got real large print here on my notes, so I'd like to thank the Rotary of Kenosha West for this honor. I'd also like to thank my wife of 51 years, who's put up with me umpiring for 47. I'd like to thank my daughter, Paula Satala, who nominated me, my son, Adam, who was my partner for many years doing high school softball and baseball, and my daughter Kelly Allen. I'd also like thank Jim Former and his Hall of Fame committee for this honor. It's an honor to be in such a great group of umpires known by their first names: Ernie, Dick, Don, Jerry, Shorty, just to name a few. To be with those people and have worked and umpired many of the names of the Hall of Famers down there was a pleasure in my career. Working for Tom Anderson Sr. While I was a member of the Southeast Wisconsin Umpires Association. Tom would give you a list. He said, these are the people I want to work the championship game. He told you, these are the people, have them there. He didn't care, the other games, he said, you can put other people on it, but make sure you have these people. Same with Keith Bosman when we were scheduling the city, did the same thing. Greg Favor also would give me a call. I wasn't working regular. Bob, I want you to work these games here, and you're going to be doing the final. So that's quite an honor. Now I got to work. This is the first year I haven't worked the Rotary in I don't know how long. Tom didn't give me a call. I didn't get the call, so. But some of the things in my career, some of the things I'd like to, Rocky Terabasi, when I first started. Rocky, every time he hit the ball, he stepped out of the batter's box. I was the only one, I think, that ever called him out for it. Because that was against the rules. Umpired one of my first city tournaments, Gary Peterson, the Wiz, was throwing, pitching. He threw one underneath the leg. I said, that's illegal. I said, you throw another deliberate illegal pitch, you're off the mound. He says, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can. He never threw another illegal pitch. I was a rules person. I ask Rocky, I missed a lot of judgment calls, but I knew the rules. So it's different umpires I got to work with. Jimmy Macarino. When you did girls' games with Jimmy Macarino, it was like working alone. Because he wasn't watching the game a whole lot. Let's see if I got anybody else here I put down. I've had the honor of work many generations of players. Walter Glass was my first of the Glass family. And I got a story about him working the Rotary tournament, diamond number 1. He hits a ball out right field. Randy Polera was the right fielder. He gets the ball, comes up throwing to the second baseman. Nice throw. I'm in great position. Walter slides in head first. The guy tagged him on the shoulder. Well, if you know Walter Glass, Walter was a very tall person. His arm, and the guy, second baseman comes down. I call safe. Randy comes running in. Said, Bob, he tagged him on he got the tag down. I said, yeah, but Walter's arm was in, hand was in. He says, no, you missed it. I said, Randy, if you want to continue playing, you'll go back out to right field now. Randy turned around and went out the back right field. Some of my things with the last incident with the Rotary was a team that had the triangular bat with cracks up and down it. They showed me a bat in the pre-bat examination of a nice round bat, perfect. Guy hits a home run with it. The other team questions it. I pick up the bat. Here's a triangular bat, which was never sanctioned. It was made in 1978 when it first came out. Cracks running all down it, which also made it illegal. And I called the guy out. Third out, no run scored, and all heck broke loose. Poor Jim had to handle that afterwards. But it's been a pleasure umpiring all these Hall of Famers and everyone that's here, working with Tom Anderson Sr., John Anderson Jr., and Jim Fulmer. Has always been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Yeah, I was hoping we'd keep Badgate out of the Hall of Fame induction, but thanks a lot. Our next inductee is Craig Stewart. Congratulations, Stewie. Stewie and his high school friends, many in the crowd today, Started playing City League at the age of 18 and immediately had success winning the Midwest League, playing for Brittles. The next year, they knew they should move to a higher skill division. And as a member of the Coogan's Bluff team, the city tourney, they made it to Simmons Field before falling to Terabasi with Hall of Famer Mario Bonifiglio and his crew. They knew they had something going. The following year, they lost to Finney's in the finals, and they knew that they had arrived at the elite softball of Kenosha. For the next decade or so, they played at the highest divisions available. Stewie played locally for Burger Chef, Brittles, Coogan's, Clay's, Pub and Grub, Moe's, Pasquale's, Finney's, Fifth Amendment, Flint's Inn, Main Event. He played 16 for Matador. But he's a snowblind Oasis guy. No matter who the sponsor was, everybody knew snowblind, or just called them blind. But they were snowblind. And it was a lot of their buddies from high school all sticking together. Stewie moved out to Delaware for a while, and while he was there, one of his first concerns was find a highly competitive softball team that he could contribute to. He played several positions in his career, midfield, third, but his most success, and he's entering the hall as a catcher. He even played right field for a city champion 14-inch team. His teams made it to the city finals twice, and in the final 8 at Simmons 7 times. He played for various City League regular season champs in Kenosha, Racine, and Newark, Delaware. His Finney's West Fast Pitch team were also league champs, and he won a state Class C championship while playing in Delaware, and was a Class C world participant in Richmond, Virginia. His teams had tournament wins in Kenosha, Beloit, Janesville, Racine, Finney's West, Bullpen, Whitewater, Silver Lake, Trevor, and Delaware. Stewie was MVP at Finney's West when playing for the Main Event. Stewie hit home runs in every park in Kenosha and Racine, including all of our fenced-in parks except for Petretti at the Big Diamond Petretti and Horlick Field, but including all of the tournaments previously mentioned. Stewie added, playing against the best, week after week, year after year, made us a pretty strong team, and we could hang with anyone. We feared no one, and we were able to hit and field with all of them. Please welcome Greg Stewart. Congrats, Stewart.
I just wanted to say thanks to my lovely wife for putting up my shenanigans for 20 years of playing softball. Bunch of clowns we were. Thanks to my daughter for nominating me. And thanks to all my friends, foes, opponents, new friends for showing up today. Thank you.
Congrats, Stewie. I'd like to bring up husband and wife, Rich Roscoe and his wife, Cindy Miller Roscoe. This is our second time. In 2019, we inducted Danny McGonigal and his wife, Tanya Bertog McGonigal. So it's kind of a fun thing when you get a husband and wife. So Cindy, I'm going to start with you. All right. Cindy played 27 years, from 71 to 98, and mostly left field. Cindy started playing softball right out of high school in 71 with Jamie's Lounge. In 72, she was asked to play on a traveling team in the Wisconsin State League called 20 Grand. And in 73, they played first in that league. They placed first in that league. In 76, she organized a team sponsored by Cremis Farms. Anybody in Kenosha is familiar with the Cremis Farms team. And in 77, Cremis started playing in Kenosha also. They played at Finney's West and did numerous tournaments. Cindy was awarded the best offensive player in 76 and 77. In 77, her Kenosha team, coached by Hall of Famer Vinny Leah, won a qualifying tournament to compete in the World Tournament, where they took 4th place out of 79 teams from all over the country. Cindy was named to the All-World Tournament team, left fielder, and her teammate, Hall of Famer Yvette Honey, was an all-world shortstop. She was a player on several other teams over the years, including the Racine Bells, playing many tournaments and winning the Racine City Tournament several times. Kenosha played on State Room, Smitty's, Strang Siding, and Shenanigans. In the 90s, she played for Rumors Lounge, winning several division titles, and the Rumors won a three-peat in the Rotary, winning in 92, 93, and 94. She also played co-ed at Finney's West and Hooker Lake, and numerous co-ed tournaments with her teammates Yvette Honey, Sherry Christensen, Lori Kirsten, along with her husband Rich, and his teammates from Finney's Lounge, Ed Van Tyne, Deddy Lura, Dave and Doug Spitzer, just to name a few. She'd like to thank the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame Committee for all their hard work in choosing her and her husband. Welcome, Cindy Miller Roscoe. Rich Roscoe, or as Ed Van Tyne calls him, the king of Kenosha softball. Rich's career spanned from 69 to 88. Rich began playing softball as a player sponsor on the Roscoe sign team. Over the years, he played for Smitty's, Sneaky Pete's, Bob Sheridan Lynn, Pub and Grub, Don's Bar, and Ken and Babes. In 77 and 78, he played with Terabasi, then started playing with the vaunted Fitties teams from 79 to 88. In Rich's own words, he said the best part of softball are the lifelong friends you make along the way and the great times they had, win or lose. He says thank you for the honor, and he's happy for the people who keep this sport alive. He wanted to emphasize, we miss you, Denny Lura. Please welcome Rich West.
Thank you. I'm not good at giving speeches, but I'd like to welcome one of my good friends up here to give a little speech for me, Rick Flocker. Come on up, Rick.
Some of you people may remember in 2018 when I was inducted, which was wonderful. I may have talked a little longer than I should have. I got a huge applause at the very end when I said, and in conclusion, I understand I've been banned since that time, so I really am not going to say anything except that great class and Rich and Cindy, wonderful.
Thank you, Rick.
We're getting the team back.
You're very welcome. Congratulations. Thanks, Rick. Literally, I appreciate it. Our next inductee is fast pitch player Jim Schweitzer. Alan. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to celebrate the outstanding softball career and honor a true legend in Kenosha softball history, Jim Schweitzer. Jim's softball journey began in 1966 when he started playing fast and slow pitch softball for various teams around Kenosha. For over 17 remarkable years, Jim made his mark on playing for the renowned teams such as Fox Valley Juice, Starlight Club, Art and Joyce's, Francisco's Lounge, the Matador, Ben and Rose's, and of course, the team he is most closely associated with, Pialli's Bakery. During this time, Jim competed in the competitive Kenosha City Leagues and the esteemed Lakeshore Classic League against elite teams from surrounding cities. His skills and sportsmanship on the field led his team to an impressive 4 city softball tournament championships. He led his teams to winning tournaments in Prairie du Chien, La Crosse, Waterford, and the renowned Charm Glow tournament in Bristol, where on 2 separate occasions, he caught an astonishing 42 innings in just one day. That's a lot on those. Do you want to take a look at those knees? While compiling accolades with wins, Jim played alongside some of the very best players in the sport. Fellow teammates Russ Moran, Vince DiMarino, the late Jim Derula, Hall of Famer Butch Schultz. Sorry for the trouble, man. Derek Turner, Rick Rendon, Al Labano, and many more. He shared the passion for softball, created lifelong bonds and memories on and off the field. Today we are honored to officially recognize Jim's illustrious career impact on softball in Kenosha by welcoming him into the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame. Jim, your talent, dedication, and sportsmanship over the decades and set the bar high for past, present, and future softball players in the community. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. You're truly a local legend. Congratulations, Jim.
You'll find out that, as my fellow Shriners do, that handing me the microphone is probably not the best thing to do on any given day. No, you'll get it back in a minute. And for Kenosha Historical Society, you can look this up if you would. My dad tells me he played in the very first fast pitch game in Kenosha, and that they pitched from 36 feet instead of 46. And the only two guys on the team that had a glove were the catcher and the first baseman. So any of you people who play third base from about 40 feet away know that you missed a lot of work. And because it was the Depression and you couldn't afford to miss work, that only was the case for 1 year. You know, everybody got mitts the next year. But yeah, I was fortunate to have a bunch of great teammates to play with. Let me just tell you this, on our block, on the corner was Nicky Perini and his family. My next door neighbor was Larry Weiss. Across the street, Tom Fugit's uncle would work out with him, and Joe Cerny was on the block behind me, who played for Northwestern and the 49ers. And we would have some really outstanding pickup games in our street on 20th Avenue. And skinned knees notwithstanding, you just kept playing, you know. So yeah, I had some great teammates, and among those that I should have written down there, Eddie Knutson, our pitcher, for so long, and Vince and Russ and Derek Turner. We were all the same class in school, so we hung together. We had a good time. And after we started playing fast pitch, we decided we'd throw a slow pitch game together, or team together, and we weren't half bad. And in about 1973, we came within 2 outs of doing something nobody's ever done. We had already won the city fast pitch tournament, and we were playing Terabasi's in the finals out at Simmons Field, and we had them, but we only got 1 out in the 7th inning, and they caught us and passed us up. And but that was not to be, and I've looked it up, and I can't find a record of anybody else doing quite so good. Now, my wife, Carol, and I, she tells me that she's been in love with me since she was 4 years old. And that's not hard to believe, because I was cute as a button.
Absolutely.
I read her the story, Jack and the Beanstalk. I was 6, she was 4, and it was a pop-up book, and she still got the book. So I guess that's evidence. I don't know, we'll check for prints sometime. But anyhow, we started dating in 1982. And I was having a fantastic year. I'm knocking the ball all over the place. I'm throwing guys out left and right. I'm putting up a wall at home plate. Don't bother coming this way, you know. And we had a great time. And my last game was out at Charm Glow Tournament out in Bristol, Labor Day weekend. And okay, I'm up. Russ Moran's on first. Russ gave me the signals. He gave me the signal for a hit and run. I never got the hit and run sign in my entire life, right? So, okay. Scotty Haldeman's pitching, he throws it high and away. Perfect pitch. I swing right through it. Hank Van Every's catching, he throws Russ out at second. Okay, now I'm sitting there, I feel like a fool. It's 0-2, there's 2 outs. And then Scotty throws the next pitch, and I can hear Hank behind me going, oh, because us catchers do that. Because we know when the pitcher has just grooved one. And as it got there, I unloaded on it, and I put it out on the tennis courts that used to be out there beyond the left field wall. So I laid down my bat, and that was going to be my last at bat, right? Game over, wins the tournament, I retire. Okay. So 1983 comes, Carol and I get married, we have a great life, start together. 84, the guys call me up and get me back to play again. And oh, by the way, you get to manage too. I goes, no, I don't need this, but I did it. And I come back and I'm terrible, right? I stink. I can't throw anymore, I can't catch anymore. And then I faced Kevin McGinn, who was just coming into his own at the time, and I told him that. And I said, and I can't get around anymore on the heat. And the crowning insult, of course, was when Jeff Barzuli started calling his outfielders in. I'm going, nobody calls the outfielders in on me. It's just unheard of. And then I had to admit, yeah, my day is through, I'm done. But then, only poetic justice that it was Jeff that called me. He gave me the call to the hall. So, after 40 years, things do turn around sometime. Thank you all so much. Kids, I love you all. Okay, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations. The most believable part of that story was the wall at home base. Our last inductee, and then we do have one more point of interest. But first, Ron Schuler is our last inductee, and I'd like to have his 3 kids, Pete, Jake, and Ellie, come on up and join us on the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for all being here. I'm just here today to say a few words about my dad, Ron Schuler, who's being inducted to the 2023 Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame, along with many other outstanding softball and fast pitch players. You may not know him by his actual name, Ron, but instead you know him as Shu. My name's Pete Schuler. This is my brother Jake and my sister Ellie. We're the second generation of Shu, since everyone calls each of us Shu now as well. We could give you all the stats, talk about how great of a softball player our dad was, how big of a lefty power hitter he was, the diving plays, the tags, or how he hit bombs at Lincoln into the girls' diamond, and many Rotary tournaments, or even how he hit a ball on the 85th Street over at Anderson. And mind you not, that's left field, that's not right field. That is one of my mom's favorite stories of my dad's softball career, and we've heard it often. Or while playing on the Terrabasis when he won the MVP of the Rotary and the city tournament in the same summer. Shu started his softball career at the age of 21 playing rec with the Fifth Amendment, Cherry Bounce Club, Fenway Park, competitively with Rumors and most competitively with Terrabasis. At the age of 22, he was the youngest player on Terrabasis. He was the first of the next generation of Tees players. At the age of 22, the youngest player on Tees, Ron learned from legends like Rocky Terabasi, Carmen Polizzi, Larry Toshrud, and Jerry Reeves. While with Terrabasis, they traveled extensively to in-state and out-of-state tournaments along with USSSA World Tournaments. He was playing and learning from the best of the best and developed friendships for a lifetime while playing with Terrabasis. In between all of those years of softball, my dad married my mom, Julie. And they will be celebrating their 28th anniversary in August. I was born in 1997, Jake was born in 1998, and Ellie brought up the rear in 2004. After playing softball for 12 years, my dad decided to hang up his cleats and dedicate his time to coaching our youth teams and serving as an assistant varsity baseball coach with his dad, Ron Schuler Sr. Together, my dad and grandpa coached baseball at St. Joe's for 2 years. Once we got to T-ball age, our dad coached our T-ball teams, coached my Pleasant Prairie Predators team from our ages 10 to 14, and coached Ellie's St. Joe's basketball teams in grade school. We're grateful for all the time he dedicated coaching all of our teams, but the best was when he decided to be the head coach of St. Joe's, where he coached some other guys here today. During that time, both Jake and I played varsity baseball with our dad as the head coach. It's kind of cool. While all three of us were 3-sport athletes in high school, you could count on my dad to be in the stands at all of our sports, watching if he wasn't coaching. After I graduated St. Joe's in 2015, my dad decided he wanted to be able to follow me on my baseball journey at Kent State and Jake's journey playing football at Augsburg University. He and my mom came to almost all of our home games in college and traveled to many games as well all over the country. As Ellie grew older and played competitive travel softball and volleyball, my dad spent time at many of her tournaments all over the country as well. Congrats, Dad.
Hi, I'm Ellie. Today my dad is what he calls partially retired. He spends his summers cutting grass with his big John Deere equipment and then plowing snow in the winter. Just a few things that he enjoys along with relaxing at his pool and gardening. Congrats, Dad.
Hi, I'm Jake. So to wrap things up, just again, congratulations to everybody up here. Special congratulations to my dad for the accomplishments that have led to this point, all the hours on the diamond. And lastly, thank you for being a role model for us and all the countless hours spent coaching our teams. We're proud to call you our dad. Congrats.
Congrats, you. Say anything?
Hold on, I gotta get this list out.
Boy.
This guy shook me up a little bit. I didn't expect that. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to the Kenosha Softball Hall of Fame for the induction. It's quite an honor. I look at those bricks there. There's some big names on there, good players, better people. I can say that, better people. So it's a great honor. All the sponsors I played for, as the kid said, I played for a dozen years or so. So I played for Fifth Amendment, for Rock, Tees, Rocky, Rumors Lounge with Markey, Coors Light with the Waverill family, Cherry Bounce. I don't know who owned it at the time. Spent a lot of money in there though. Diamond Floors, Mike Miller, and then Earl's Club for John Wilk, and then there was Truesdale Mini Mart and Countryside Market. Those were my folks, my brother. Those were our businesses, and it was a privilege to play for them too. So to all of those sponsors, I really, really appreciate you allowing me to wear your jersey. It was an honor. Thank you very much. To get to this point, to stand on the stage with all of these people, you don't get here on your own. You need good coaches as a kid. There's coaches that you remember with all the sports, when you start when you're 5, t-ball, football, baseball, hockey, basketball, played them all. One very good, 2 short. But there's certain coaches that you remember that make a mark on you. As you heard, I went on to coach with my pop at St. Joe's for a few years, and then when the opening came up, I took that job on my own. Did that with a truly great friend, Myron Glass. He was my assistant. But the coaches that hit me the most and left the biggest mark on me were Coach Farini. He was my baseball coach at St. Joe's on the state championship team in 1988. Rocky Tirabassi, he was my basketball coach at St. Joe's. Then he allowed me to play for Keys. Rocky was also an assistant on our '88 state championship baseball team. But Rock, he's different. I just, he's a good coach, but Rock and I, we used to butt heads, let's just put it to you that way. But he made me a better player, made me understand the game, compete. He really, really made me compete. And then the last guy that was a huge, huge influence in my life was my pa. My dad, he didn't know a whole bunch about sports, but he was there for the right reason, and he made us compete, taught us accountability, pick up teammates. And yeah, when it was time to possibly throw at a guy, yeah, you do it. You just keep everybody on the rails. That's how my dad rolled, but play the game the right way. Two things in sports I never believed in. I don't believe in pressure situations, and let's see, now I can't remember the other. Oh, the other saying that I hate. Oh, this team does the little things right. No, they don't. They play the game the right way. When you play the game the right way, there is no pressure. There is no little things. You just play the game the right way, the way that it's designed.
Right.
And last but not least, as you heard, in 1995, I was fortunate enough to win both MVP here on this diamond right there where that guy's running that Toro, and the city up at Boreal. Yeah, softball-wise, I was able to put lightning in a bottle for 2 months, or month and a half, I guess, they're apart. But the bigger part of that was August of '95, I got married, and I wasn't allowed, or no, our wedding, this is a true story. We got married on August 19th. We had to wait until softball was over. And my wife, she understood that. There was no vacations in the summer. Our vacations were going to Fond du Lac, going to Rockford, going to Janesville. That's what we did. And she never, ever squabbled. And for that, honey, I truly, truly appreciate you, and I love you. Thank you.
Great job, Shu. Let's hear it for the class of 2023. Before we move on, we have one more item of business. 10 years ago, my friend, Hall of Famer Jack Zimmerman, asked me if he could have the microphone. And I said, sure. And he got the microphone, and he called up his girlfriend, and he got down on his knee, and he proposed marriage to her on right on the monument over there. So today, he said to me, Jim, can I have the microphone again? And I thought, what are we in for? So I'm nervous. Here's my buddy Jay.
Yeah, well, you should be. All right, I'll have that chair there, young fella. You got a couple old people out here. I noticed you got to kind of keep this close to your mouth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here, like Jim says, not to steal the show, but to honor and commitment to excellence. That's what we all have on our plaques. And we're also here to maybe start a new tradition here with the approval, if you don't mind. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but we are very lucky here. We have Kenosha and Fond du Lac. Fond du Lac is the only other city that has a Hall of Fame. As Dr. Jim said, that they are indoors. It's not outdoors. Now, when they put this out here and decided to put this here by the ballparks, it is very fitting because I would say most of the time that most everybody that's on or in the Hall of Fame has played here, has played on these diamonds. At least I think so. I'm not sure. But with that said, all right, many of you people out here know that Paul Vagnoni, through Facebook, he's a 2014 inductee for his contributions of writing the softball books. And he and I have partnered up with my dear friend and Hall of Famer, Greg Hansen. And as you can see, I can't do it all. But Paulie Vagnoni and I go by Paulie because of this Hall of Fame, my incredible relationship with this fella. On Thursdays, I usually go over and see him. And one Thursday, about beginning of April, I looked over and I asked Paul, I says, hey, has anybody ever, acknowledged this old timer, this old guy? And he started to laugh. He said, if you know me, I'm full of fun. Now, he asked me what we should do. I said, we all got a plaque. We ought to at least give him a plaque. What do you think? So, the first leg of the journey, folks, was to go over and get the Hall of Fame plaque over at, I think it's the Kenosha Trophy on Roosevelt Road at 26th. Anyways, thank you very much for helping us out and keeping this as quiet as you could. Now, after that, Paul had an idea that maybe we ought to be able to put this on a board and have the Hall of Famers come and sign. Well, we brought it, Paulie called ahead to DeBerg's and over on 63rd, and they got this done in about 10 days. Why? Because we asked them, they asked us how quickly they needed to get it done. Well, as you can see, we have Hall of Famers here. So for the next 5 weeks, I've been bringing this back and forth to Paulie's place, and we've had, thank you very much for all you guys that did come, over by Paul and sign this. So when we did present this to this, let's call him an incredible softball human being. I don't know how else to put it. His love for softball is, this is why we're here, really and truly. So we wanted to make sure that we at least presented it with the start of some of the Hall of Famers. So thank you, everybody. Now there's only one part here that I'm going to ask for respect. On the top here, if there's a fella named Dick Laba. Now, Dick and I have been friends for 64 years, and there was an article written many years ago by Jim Corcovan. Had a sport, it was an all-star team, and then they described Dick as the best and most outstanding softball player in the city. Well, one of the Hall of Fame umpires, Ron Solek, excuse me. Don't want to mess that up. Schuler, they got me messed up over here. Well, I think he said it the best. If you look at Dick's resume, Dick Laba is probably considered one of the greatest all-around athletes to ever come out of Kenosha. So with that being said, it's pretty much agreed that if you're going to start a list to honor this incredible human being, that Dick's name should go on the top. Other than being a personal friend, and at my request, I want to thank you, Dick, very much. Now, let's get right to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Paul Vagnoni and myself, and I forgot to mention, but what this does with this Hall of Fame, folks, this creates a Hall of Fame family. So everyone here is part of the Hall of Fame family. So we would like to honor you for your incredible love of softball and your commitment to excellence. Dr. Jim Fulmer. Hang on. It says Dr. Jim Fulmer, the founder. Folks, this is a hell of a guy. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. To the 2000 class, Jimmy Fulmer. Here you go, brother. Not yet, Cal. Listen, bro, when I do shit, we do it first class. All right, now, Jim doesn't know it, but he's given us all the information we needed to pull off the last part of this little caper. And believe me, this was damn hard to pull off because everyone here has a, what do you call it? Thick as a brick. Come here, young fella. Reach into here. Please, I ain't holding this damn thing up. you pick it up and reach into that, and you now will become that's right, a full-fledged member. I bust my balls. Full-fledged member. Congratulations, Jim. You gave us all the information. That was the best part. Congratulations. You're a great man, pal. Now.
Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, this is quite a surprise, and I truly, truly appreciate it. I really thought you were giving this to Dom. When you said old, it wasn't me. It's very, very special, and I truly appreciate it.
The best part, I was here yesterday and today.
No.
I was busting your balls.
Yeah.
You still didn't know.
No.
What were you doing over there? I was looking for where to put the bricks. Well, go plant that one.
You know, I never played softball at your level. I played softball for over 25 years, but I knew I was never going to be Hall of Fame worthy unless I started a Hall of Fame. So I figured eventually somebody's got to get the hint.
All the Hall of Famers,
Yeah.
all the Hall of Famers that can sign it now will be brought over.
Okay.
One time.
Just a second. Your story's going a little long here. Hang on. As soon as we're done here, I want the class of 2023 over in front of the monument for his photos, followed by all the softball Hall of Famers that are here today. Photos for all of you as well. But go ahead here, Zimmy.
Jim, when you take your pictures of all these guys here, the new one, would you please take this chair and put it in the middle, sit with this, and then have your picture taken with everyone? Hey, you are this. If it wasn't for you, my friend, I wouldn't be here. And I want to thank you personally, just because I have a friendship with Paulie Vagnoni and my friend here. This is immense. So this is the new tradition that we hope you will continually bring this back. Huh? You will? Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's hear it for the class of 2023. And let's make sure those stairs are secure over there. That's really thoughtful and very heartfelt. Appreciated.